Guys, today I'm gonna show you how to do a navigation controller programmatically with zip files. So first we're gonna create a new Xcode project, and we're gonna choose an empty application. Then click next, and we're not gonna use core data, and we're not gonna do unit tests, but we're gonna use automatic reference counting. And my product name, I'm gonna call it NavigationController tutorial. Okay. Last tutorial that I did this with the storyboard with no code, but this one I'm gonna use zip files, and we're gonna do more code, a lot more code than the last one. So just click next, and then create your project. Okay, I guess my last tutorial I called it that, so I'm gonna call it something else. I'm gonna call it Navigation Controller XIB tutorial, and click next, and then create. And from there we have our Appdelegate.h and Appdelegate.m. Those are the only two files created for us when we chose empty controller. So what we're gonna do now is we are going to create a new file, and I'm gonna choose Objective-C class, Cocoa Touch, and I'm gonna call this one ViewController1, and it's gonna be a subclass of UI ViewController. And make sure to check this checkbox where it says with zip for user interface. Then click next, and then target is Navigation Controller zip tutorial, and then click create. And from there it creates a set of ViewController1 header file, implementation file, and a zip file for us. And in a zip file, I'm going to change the color of the background to blue, and I'm gonna add a label in here saying ViewController1. Okay, so that's my text label for this. And I'm gonna do the same thing one more time, and I'm gonna go File, New, File, and create an Objective-C class in Cocoa Touch. Click next, and then this one we're gonna call this ViewController2. It's also a subclass of UI ViewController. And check with zip for user interface, and click next, and then click create. And from there, I'm also going to change the background of ViewController2 to become a orange color, and I'm going to add a label. And this one I'm going to call this ViewController2. Alright, and now what we're going to do is in our Appdelegate.m, we're going to import our ViewController1, because that's going to be our first view that it shows. So ViewController1, import ViewController1 header file, and in the did finish launching with options method in the Appdelegate, we're going to create to a pointer of an instance to UI navigation controller. I'm going to call it navvc equals UI navigation controller alloc init, and then I'm also going to create a pointer to an instance of ViewController1. So just say ViewController1. I'm going to call this VC1 equals ViewController1 alloc init. And from there, I'm going to add a ViewController1 to an array of objects in the navigation controller. So we do this by saying navvc set view controllers, and NSArray, I'm going to say NSArray array with object, because we only have one view for this, and the object is going to be vc1. And at the very end, don't forget to do this. This is the important part. You have to set the root view controller, and we do this by saying self.windows. Set root view controller to be navvc1 and return yes. And at this point, when we choose to run it on our iPhone 6 simulator, we should already see a Navigation 1 controller. We should see the first view. So let's see if that shows up. Wait a couple seconds for the simulator to launch up. And there it is. There's our view controller 1 with the navigation controller added for us. And we're going to set the title and the button to go to view controller 2 on Programmatically in our view controller 1 implementation file. So I think that's all we have to do for the app delegate. So now we're going to go to the PushViewController1.m, which is the implementation file. And in our view did load, we can do stuff in here. So we can say brackets self dot navigation item. We can say set title, and we can call this one screen 1. That's our title, and we can also add a button in here. So say self.navigation navigation item. Actually, let me create a pointer to an instance of a UI bar button item, and we're gonna add that to our navigation item. So we do this by saying this one is we're going to create UI bar button item. So we're going to do this by saying UI bar button item, and I'm going to call this go to VC2 button, and we'll do this by saying UI bar button item alloc init, but we're going to init with title this time, and the title of the button that we want it to be called, I'm going to call this title go to 2. The style, then we choose the style. I'm going to choose UI button style, item style plain. Target will be self, action will be at selector, and our selector is going to be our method name that gets called when this button gets clicked. So I'm going to call this one go to view 2. So that'll be my method name, and so we have to define that also here. So here we're creating an instance method in our view controller implementation file called go to view 2. This method name will have to be the same as this method name, because this is the method that gets called when this button is gonna get clicked. And so we'll leave that for a little bit after. So now we're going to say we're going to add the go to VC2 button to our navigation item. So we do this by saying self.navigation item set right bar button item. So we're gonna put this in the right side of the title. Set right bar button item go to VC2 button, and now we've created a title that says screen 1 and a button that says go to 2, but we haven't written the code for what the button should do yet when it gets clicked. But for this step, let's verify that it's running again on our iPhone 6 simulator. So here's our screen 1 title, and here's our go to 2 button. So again, when we click it, it doesn't do anything yet because we haven't written the code here. So what we want to do now is when the button gets clicked, we want to be able to navigate to the screen, to the view controller 2. So what we're going to do here is in our view controller 1 implementation file, we're going to import our view controller 2 header file also. And here we're going to create a pointer to an instance of our view controller 2. View controller 2 vc2 equals view controller 2 alloc init, and here I'm going to say we're gonna push to our view controller too. So here we're gonna say self navigation. I think it's navigation controller. Self navigation controller. Push view controller. We're gonna push to VC2. Animate it yes, and then from this point, when the go to VC2 button gets clicked, or go to 2 buttons gets clicked, it will create a pointer to an instance of a view controller 2, and it will automatically push to the VC2 view controller, which is the view controller 2 header file. So I mean the view controller 2 view controller. So here let's run it and it should work. So here's go to screen 1, push go to 2, and then it goes to view controller 2. We can do a couple more things, like for example you can go to ViewController2.m and you can change, like maybe in the viewDidLoad method, let's say you want to add the title, because right now in our simulator when you go to 2 there's no title here. In the view controller 2 maybe you want to set the title, so again you can say self.navigation_item. And I know right now I'm not being consistent with the code, but I want to show you that you have a couple ways of doing it. You can do this with the bracket, like you can do this with the brackets, or you can do this with the dot notation. So you can say self.navigation_item.titles equals at quotation screen 2. It can be 2 words here. Screen 2, and then run it on our iPhone simulator, and it should show up. Here's our screen 2 title, and a back button that says screen 1 because our title is named screen 1. But if you want to change the back button that says screen 1 to something else, you have to do it in the screen 1, like in the screen 1 implementation file. And if you want to do that, you do that by creating another UI bar button item. Let's call this back button equals UI bar button item Alec init with title again. I'm gonna call, like, this is whatever the title you want the back button to be called. Let's say you want it to call back to 1, and style will be UI bar button item. UI bar button item style plain. Target will be nil, and action will be nil. Okay, so then that'll set the name of the, well, that hasn't done it yet. That just sets a back button title to back to 1. Now we have to add this to our navigation item. So self.navigation_item set back bar button item to be back button, and from there when we run it on our iPhone 6 simulator, again it says go to 2, but when we click go to 2, this time instead of it saying screen 1, it says back to 1. So here I've shown you how to create like navigation controller programmatically, how to add the bar buttons programmatically, and how to change the back button of the next screen. And we can do this for as many view controllers as we want. So that's it for this tutorial. And in the next tutorial, I think I'm going to show you how to do how to pass data between different view controllers, like back and forth. Alright, thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.